Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Ann Matlack, Artistic Director of Harmonium Choral Society. This is the 2021 celebration of the 24th Annual New Jersey High School Student Composition Contest, which took place on May 2nd on Zoom, and we've cleaned it up a bit for you to share on YouTube. Composing and getting to know composers is something we've been able to support this year, maybe even better than in normal times. Thanks to the magic of Zoom, we were joined at this event by all of our judges, our student winners, their teachers and families, and many, many former winners of this composition contest from around the country, many of whom are still active in music in myriad creative ways. And of course, we were joined by our harmonium singers and audience who have persisted in creating and supporting this musical community all year. Since this took the place of our spring concert, I also want to open up with an inspiring video performance. This is Craig Hella Johnson's arrangement of Carly Simon's Let the River Run from a 2018 performance to get us dreaming. After the video, I will turn it over with a huge thank you to our board member, soprano and composition contest coordinator, Rachel Clark.
Hello and welcome. My name is Rachel Clark and I'm the contest coordinator. Thank you for tuning in as we celebrate the many fantastic concert winners, past and present, and also our incredible judges. To follow along, please go to harmonium.org where you can read detailed program notes put together beautifully by PJ Livesey. Thanks, PJ. There you can also read about our incredible donors and become one yourself. This contest would not happen without your generous support, and we thank you for continuing to appreciate the arts in our community, especially for the next generation of composers. Thank you and enjoy.
Since composing apparitions for Harmonium Choral Society in 2008, Amanda Harberg's music has gone on to be performed all over the world. In 2021, the Philadelphia Orchestra will present the world premiere of her piccolo concerto, and there's a lot more in our program about her many accomplishments. So tell us about this process for you, Amanda, and how are you?
Oh, thanks, Anne. It's so nice to be here. I love this competition so much. I'm great. I just wanted to say about the competition submissions, how blown away I was this year, how we had such a hard year, and the student composers made beauty and meaning, and every single piece that we got our hands on this year was an inspiration to me. And not everybody wins, of course. It was an extremely difficult, practically impossible decision, but every piece really gave me something. And I'm sure I speak for all of us about that. So I just wanted to thank the composers who submitted pieces. It's wonderful to have amazing young colleagues out there. And thank you to Harmonium for giving this opportunity, just keeping the art form alive and going. It's amazing. And so I've been doing this for 10 years, and every year it just blows my mind.
Wow, it's been 10 years. Wow, thank you for being here. But Matthew Harris can actually beat that because I believe Matthew is our longest running judge. His choral music is performed and recorded worldwide. His A Child's Christmas in Wales for chorus and orchestra was one of our biggest commissions ever and was commissioned and premiered by us. And he's currently writing a work for the German vocal ensemble Ensemble Nobiles for a Leipzig Gewandhaus premiere. Matthew, before you talk, I'm going to play a piece of yours. Your many settings of Shakespeare songs are a favorite of audiences and singers. And we recently found some videos of a chamber singers concert from several years ago that we have not yet posted. So I found a lovely recording of Take, Oh Take Those Lips Away, the Shakespeare text, by Matthew Harris. So let's hear that first, and then Matt will talk. Matthew.
Hi. Well, so I just want to say hi to all the students who are out there. Hopefully we have a few, and it was a real pleasure to look at your music and get to know it. It always inspires me. I count 20 years that I've been doing this. I think it was 2001 was when I first got the commission. You said, would you like to also judge our contest? I said, sure. And back then, it was not an internet kind of thing. There was America Online and things like that, but basically you got a pile of scores in the mail, and I would write on them and send it back. And actually, because of the way classes are going these days, I am now more comfortable taking writing on PDFs because I have to do that all the time. So I've been putting my notes for all you students. You're going to get your score back with my writing on it and squiggly lines and stuff like that. So, which is always better than having to say, oh, in bar 17, beat 3, altos, couldn't you make that a D flat? I'll just write a D flat. You've got it right there. And anyway, when I was just listening to my own music there, it brought me back to when I wrote it. And you know, I didn't really know if that was going to work. That I could just do the same thing, you know, do that chord progression so many times and add voices. So the thing is to always be like a student, because when you're a student, you're not sure what you're doing. You don't really know if it's going to work. You hope it works. But that energy of trying something new and not knowing if it's going to make it or not, you should never, when I see the students, that's what they're doing. They don't know, they're hoping it's all going to come together, but they're not sure. And once you really know what you're doing, you've sort of died as an artist. You have to keep going into new directions and try to always be that student who's learning with every new piece. And so doing this contest for 20 years is sort of kept me on my toes and reminded me that that's what it's all about. You should not, just knock out piece after piece, knowing that you've got a nice little formula. You should always be testing yourself out. And these people are doing it just by writing that first piece because they don't know what a choral piece has to do. And it's hard. I still find it hard. So it's amazing to see what people are doing. And this is just kids in New Jersey. This is not like a worldwide contest. And yet, the level is very high for being just choral music people who've heard about this, who live in the state of New Jersey. So that gives me a good feeling that if it's a nationwide thing, just imagine all those other talented kids out there.
As a judge myself, I can say that the field was so strong and varied this year, and I really want to commend every single student who submitted a composition. Now meet the other judges. The award-winning choral music of Michael Bussewitz-Quarm engages singers and audiences with the leading social and environmental issues of our time. Michael is passionate about effecting change through choral music on topics ranging from the health of the world's coral reefs to the epidemic of gun violence in the United States to the global refugee crisis. Harmonium Choral Society joined the consortium to commission My Name is Lamia, Don't Call Me Refugee, and we also premiered The Rainy Day, based on the poem by Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, which we're going to play for you now before I let Michael talk. So tell us a little bit about your experience of judging the contest for the past few years.
Well, hello, everybody. I have really enjoyed being part of the judging process and been very impressed with the pieces that have come through. I think, they've, each year there are strong pieces. This was a particularly difficult year in terms of there are just so many pieces that I could see. It just like getting so many performances and everything, and so many pieces that I enjoyed discovering. And so this is an exciting year. You know, I see you know, the composers at different levels of their development, and it's always exciting to see that. You know, obviously this is a snapshot, and I don't, you know, see the next stages or anything like that. But you know, I know that they're all going on and taking in more information and developing their craft, and so that's what makes this exciting, you know, for me. And you know, yeah, it's just I'm really happy to be part of this.
Thank you so much. Our newest judge this year is Trevor Weston. Trevor's most recent honor is a huge one. It's receiving the 2021 Arts and Letters Award in Music from the American Academy of Arts and Letters. Dr. Weston is currently professor of music and chair of the music department at Drew University in Madison. We've performed his Ashes and also a piece called Rivers of Living Water. Great. Welcome, Trevor.
Thank you. Glad to be here. So I wanted to say this is my first time judging this competition, and as someone who grew up in New Jersey, I was pretty blown away at the quality of the pieces. I kept thinking about me in high school and what I was writing, and all of the participants far exceeded what I was doing at that age. That's one thing. And the other thing is that the text that all of the participants set it's very difficult because it was very moving, very serious, and it might not seem like a big issue, but it's difficult to write music that rises to the occasion of the text that you're setting. So I was impressed just by the fact that all of the participants, all of the composers wrote pieces that really supported the text. They didn't write music that did not seem appropriate for the text that they were setting, and that was impressive. And the last thing I'll say is that I think there's a quote from Miles Davis: "It takes a lifetime to learn who you are." When it comes to writing music, those decisions that seem, and I think Matthew said this earlier, that seem like a stretch, usually that's something that represents something that is so unique to you that it feels weird because you haven't heard it anywhere else or heard it before. That is what you should focus on because that's you. That's the thing that the world is waiting for because you're the only person who could come up with those decisions. So I would just applaud, I want to applaud all of you again and say, keep going, keep writing, and congratulations.
I also, not officially a judge, but a big helper of this contest is our composer in residence, Martin Sedek. And Marty's here. Marty actually offered himself. We had a Zoom for an informational Zoom for people, and he also offered himself to some of the early entrants to actually give them help. And that I'm just so happy that he's able to do that because I really want to level the playing field. I don't want this to just be a contest for people who can afford to have a private teacher, for example. So Marty will step in there. So keep that in mind next year, students. Step in there and use Marty. I know some of you did, and I think actually it was kind of so some really good work was done there. So Marty, before you talk, I'm going to play my favorite piece. Sorry, Little Bird. A little bird I am, I am, I am, I am. A little bird I am, a little bird I am, I am. A little bird I am, I am, I am, I am. A little bird I am, a little bird I am, I am, I am. A little bird, a little bird I am. A little bird I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. A little bird I am, a little bird I am. It pleases thee. Oh, little bird I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, a little bird I am, a little bird I am, I am, I am. Oh, not have I else I used to do. I sing the song, and you most I love to please, doth listen to my song. I have a huge description of you, or maybe you can just introduce yourself if you don't mind. And everybody, yeah, actually, it's not in the program. So let me just tell you a little bit about Marty. Actually, I'll start with the embarrassing part. He actually sang in harmonium in high school.
That's right.
And we actually did one of your pieces in high school. It wasn't even part of the contest, but I loved it so much. I'm like, let's do this. And that sort of continued as the years went on. He's been our composer in residence for a while, and he's an award-winning composer in the world of choral and orchestral music. And as I said, he's been an invaluable resource to the students. Marty was educated at Berklee College of Music and Montclair State, where he studied composition and choral conducting, and he's now director of Choral Arts Society of New Jersey and also associate conductor for the Masterwork Chorus. We'll forgive you. All right, as a member of the choral and theory faculties in Montclair State Cali School of Music, he is assistant conductor for the MSU Chorale and visiting professor of music theory. He has many composition awards, and he earned his PhD in composition at Rutgers Mason Gross School of the Arts, where he studied with Tarek O'Regan. The other thing I want to say is, if you took the time to go deep into the contest sort of guidelines and things like that, there's something called Judges' Tips, and many of those came from Marty, and they're really worth looking at. Very, very good. So thank you.
Well, hello, everybody. Great to see all of you. Well, two things struck me while the judges were introducing themselves. First, what Dr. Weston said about being amazed at what kids in high school now are writing versus what what we were writing, because I had the exact same thought working with these students that I was not on this level when I was 15 years old, for sure. When I got out of college as a composer, I tracked down Matthew Harris. And he was the one who actually taught me a lot of these sort of like nitty-gritty things about the writing process. A lot of the sort of housekeeping things, what direction stem goes, all the little things, sort of very unique to choral composition. Anyway, just occurred to me how great it sort of feels to be, part of this generation. Here's Matthew Harris. He taught me a lot of these things. And then working with these students, I was able to just continue passing down some of those things. So that was really great. So, it was really great to see some of the work coming in. It was all extremely high quality. I can't wait to hear, the final results and hear the performances. And just such an honor to continue to be part of the Harmonium family after all these years, and to continue to be a part of this really great contest. And I hope you can still hear me.
You made it.
I made it. Okay, good. I tried to talk fast. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, I'm going to take you now through a whirlwind tour of Where Are They Now? 24 years of this composition contest. For the 15th anniversary, we started a Where Are They Now? And I have to say that Google and the interwebs have gotten so much better that I learned so much more this time. People I couldn't find 9 years ago, I found lots about. So in 1998, we had the first contest. It was won by a student named Brian Driscoll. He did stay a composer for a while. I haven't been able to track him down very recently. The very exciting thing about that piece, it was called Lord, There's a Fire, and it was kind of a pseudo-spiritual. It was very singable and very exciting. And the exciting thing about it was that Alfred Publishing actually published it. So he kind of peaked early, I have to say. It was really, really cool. Our second year, the winner was Daniel Adamczyk. Daniel was actually the runner-up the first year behind Brian. And I've been in touch with Daniel. I think he's not here tonight because he is one of two former winners who had their second vaccine today. And so they are home recovering. Daniel was music director at St. Michael's Church in Cranford from 2003 to 2009. And organist and choir director at St. Paul's Morris Plains from 2010 to 2018. After he graduated Westminster Choir College, he went on to obtain a pharmacy doctorate from Rutgers, and he's currently a senior medical director at BGB Group. So he's a pharmacist, but also still a musician. So quite an interesting story for Daniel. That brings us to 2000, and I can't believe how long ago that was, Stefan. Stefan is here. He was kind enough to visit us at a Harmonium Zoom earlier in the winter. And he's going to talk to us a little bit. He is still an active and award-winning film composer, and his original piece was in Greek. I always remember that. And Stefan was a student at Madison High School when he won in 2000, and here he is to talk to us a bit.
Thank you, Anne. Just so you all know, I don't actually speak Greek. I'm still not entirely 100% sure what was going on through my brain when that happened, but it was a wonderful experience, and really that's just kind of what I wanted to tell all the students here is this was probably, I was a composer from pretty young age, and I was interested in this stuff, and I was like, yeah, I should probably go to college for it. Maybe we'll see. The harmonium was kind of the first moment that showed me, oh, maybe this is worth exploring. I kind of look at a different dimension, Stefan Swanson, who didn't win this, and I probably wouldn't have gone on to be an actual professional composer that I am today, because I really do think this was the thing that kind of, vaulted me forward. Obviously, it's great for the resume and all that, but let's be honest, you kind of don't really have an idea of where you are in the world. Like, am I good? Am I bad? I don't know. And when you win a contest like this, it's at least a little bit of the world is telling you, maybe you've got something. So I hope it's as valuable to you guys as it was to me. So thank you.
Thank you for being here and for visiting us this winter as well. In 2001, the winner was named Chris Jarmo from Paramus High School. I really like the Talking Heads, and recently David Byrne did a thing called American Utopia, I think it was called. You can see it on Netflix, maybe. Anyway, everybody in his troupe introduced themselves in the middle of the show, and this red-headed kid screamed out, "I'm from Paramus, New Jersey, Chris Jarmo." I'm like, it must be him. So I actually heard from Chris today. He's happy that the contest is still going on. He is a fascinating and creative guy, doing many, many things, as well as working with David Byrne. He has a drag show. He has an internet presence that's very strong. He's a sound designer. And Chris actually mentions in his bio that his marching band experience came to play when he ended up becoming a choreographer for that show. So interesting where some of you guys are ending up. It's just great. That was 2001. So this brings us to 2002, Kevin Clark. Kevin was also in touch with me, and very happy that Harmonium is still going strong. He lives in Seattle and works in software, but he's also still doing some composing, and you can see a link to some of his compositions in the program. He would also be here, except he also had a second vaccine today. So in 2003, the winner was Heidi Lamb, and I've heard from Heidi. It's been great. Heidi just finished, like literally this spring, her PhD program in anthropology at Yale University. She writes, "I have just submitted my dissertation on immersive culturally themed spaces where I analyze how Japan's past is transformed into embodied experiences that use people's senses and participation. My music training was actually useful during 15 months of fieldwork at Japanese historical themed park based in the 17th century. I looked into how the senses, including sound and music, are used to communicate traditional Japanese culture to domestic consumers and overseas tourists." So, wow, all the directions that we can go with our music. It's so gratifying to see some of these creative things. Our 2004 winner was Kyle Boatwright. Kyle has a degree in music composition from Amherst College, and she's a freelance actor and writer in Massachusetts. And that brings us to Dale Trumbore, our most famous, possibly, winner. And Dale also very strong in the choral world, and I've been following her and trying to perform your works and be part of your consortia commissions as much as I can over the years, and it's just been so gratifying and wonderful. And I also, before you speak, we are actually going to play your winning piece from 2005 because it's still in your catalog. And I remember judging this piece, and it was one of the first pieces where I said I would buy this piece if I were just looking at this piece. I'll buy that. I will take it. It's called "Sing to the Lord, a New Song." Sing to the Lord a new song. Sing to the Lord. Welcome, Dale.
Thanks for having me here. And it's great to see so many familiar faces too. I know so many of you past winners and judges, and it's really lovely to see the whole Harmonium community here. So that's the oldest piece in my catalog, and the Harmonium win, like Stefan said, was really the first time I got to hear my music taken seriously and performed. It was the first time I had an original piece of mine performed by someone who wasn't me. So I'd written a couple of pieces for piano, but that performance was transformative. And I'm asked so often about how I got started writing choral music and writing music in general. And I say, you know, I've been composing since I was 7 or so, and I got a music notation program when I was 12. And really all of that leads to, I think, this one experience with Harmonium, where not only did I hear my music performed and exist outside of myself, and have that feeling that I think in a way I've been chasing ever since as a professional composer and as a professional choral composer, but also I think being taken seriously as a composer and being treated with respect is something that, first of all, doesn't always happen in our collaborations. Being treated with the level of respect that Harmonium treats these student composers, that's a really rare and really wonderful, really beautiful thing. And to have that be my first real professional experience at such a young age, I think I must have just turned 17, I think, when the premiere happened. It really set a bar for me, I think, in my professional life, knowing that that's how you should be treated as a composer. You should be treated with respect. And in a collaboration, there should be room to explore, to change things, to really work together on a premiere. So thank you, Anne, and thank you, Harmonium. I've said it a million times and you keep performing my music, so thank you for that. And I'll just keep saying it again and again. But for all the composers who will have a chance to work with Harmonium in any capacity, and I should say too, I was a 3rd place runner-up the year before I won. So I remember thinking, like, as a senior, you know, I'm gonna get it. Like, I'm gonna do it again and get it this time. But if you have the chance to work with Harmonium, any of the student composers, it just, like, this is what it should feel like. It's a really wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being here. Just such a great thing that we've actually also been able to maintain this relationship, you know, for many years. And I hope that all of my young composers will keep doing that for me. Please, when you have new pieces, send them to me, you know, let me encourage you to compose more. In 2006, the winner was Jonathan MacMillan, also 2007. So like a lot of, there have been many years where either somebody won 2 years in a row or was a runner-up and then won, or maybe had a second place and a first place, or sometimes it goes the other way around. But I just love that. That's one of my favorite parts about watching the students like try and try again and see what they learn. I'm just going to add that one of the things that the Dodge Foundation, who funded us for many years, particularly liked about the contest is that the judges do give full comments to every single entrant. It's not just for the winners, but it's like we try to give constructive feedback to everybody. And of course, it's subjective. In every way, judging a composition is subjective, and all of you composers should always remember that. We're just trying to support you and give you some ideas, but be true to yourselves and stick to your guns. In 2008, our winner was Noah Berg. Do you want to tell us about yourself? Why don't you do a little bit of talking? Just say.
Sure, yeah. Well, first of all, it's been so great to hear about the journeys of everyone coming up. I'm probably more out of touch than a lot of people here, and it's just great to see, like, you know, the paths and the careers of so many people who have done this thing similar to me, which, you know, it's easy to look back and think, what is it, 12, 13 years ago now for me? Like, it's a blip, but then you kind of like think back and you think about yourself and how it's built, and it's something that's really cool. And, you know, I think back, for me, I can totally resonate with what Dale said about, like, you know, having something that existed outside of like your own brain for the first time, totally what it was for me. And in winning, you know, it was definitely like a really validating moment for me. It was like, you know, hey, wow, here's something that I can do that other people seem to appreciate. That's cool. And that was a feeling for me that I took on like through college. And, you know, I entered the world of a cappella music, and that was a very addicting world for me in college. And I've kept that on since. I see some smiles, so I see people maybe can resonate with that. But yeah, so I'm living in Brooklyn now, and just, you know, I'm keeping composition close to me. I work in the tech world, but finding some ways to make that for myself. And I think that that's like the biggest thing that I can really pass on for me, is that it was important for me to find a place for this, because this was a moment in my life that I, you know, I think back and it was important, and it's important to have that as a part of mine. So wishing the best of luck to all the students who participated, submitted, and hoping that they can take something of that with them as well. Thank you, Anne, for having me.
Sure, thanks for being here. Michael Rosen won in 2009, and Michael received his bachelor's degree in music composition and theory from Montclair State in 2014, and a master's degree in music composition from San Francisco Conservatory in 2016. He's currently a music director in Westfield, and he also is a music historian and writes for WQXR, the New Jersey Festival Orchestra, writes program notes for Mid-America Productions, does lots of talking and loving on music. Michael also visited us last week, but I'm going to go ahead and play Arbalace again because I really love that piece, and there were only 20 people here last week. So this was in a recent Chamber Singers performance, and it was the premiere of a piece that you had written at San Francisco, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
My last piece I wrote there as a grad student.
Great. So here's Arbalace. It's actually in English, although the title is not. give us some words of wisdom, Michael.
Sure, yeah. Hey there, everyone. Yeah, thanks for playing that again. That was the last piece I wrote as a grad student in my master's degree in composition, and actually really one of the last pieces I wrote as an honest note for me. Today I am known more as a performer and musicologist, music historian. Among what Anne said, I write for WQXR. I've been published in national journals for the Anglican musician and the glissando on piano. I'm a teacher. I've played in Scotland, all the way from UK to San Francisco, harpsichord and piano and organ. But I've also am the musicologist at Music in the Somerset Hills, and it's just great to see Trevor Weston because they for Ellie written for his sister's wedding. Well, he wrote the variations, the melody, and then it was premiered, it was played, and it was surprised her. There's a great story behind that. But I want to emphasize that, you know, I love composing. I still identify as a composer, and actually I think it's important to mention that it's poetic. I'm going to be, for the first time in 5 years, I'm having a real true premiere. In a few weeks, I'm in an intensive with Jennifer Higdon as a composer and a performer. I'm performing someone else's piece, piano work, and I'm writing. I actually got paired with the mezzo, so I'm writing. I've narrowed it down since I saw you guys last week. It'll be 2 keyboards, organ and piano, which I'll record both, and then her voice. But it was more, I stopped for a personal reason. You know, I think some of you know, it's not because I was like frustrated with composing. You know, I just had to take time from it, and I'm so glad to get back into it now. So that when I won the harmonium contest a little over 10 years ago, I knew I wanted to be a composer. As you see, those 2 degrees were back to back, and went on to get 2 degrees, and I wrote a lot. And I have had, even though I said I didn't really write much, I did have 2 commissions. They were small pieces, and one that was in the works before the virus, and that's kind of on pause right now. But and kind of like what Dale was saying, when you win a contest, I mean, I remember any other performances before that I had played by myself. Like Dale said, either I wrote piano pieces, or was at some kind of summer camp, or it was a volunteer group that put, you know, and you would send them your music, and they would, you know, it'd always be, okay, I could perform this section of it, or we only have room for 1 movement or something. It was always like, just to get a little bit of music performed was so. And then with this contest, you have this full professional choir, and you're getting a check at the end of it. It was incredible. It was like nothing that had not, you know, compared to what I had before when you're in high school. And so that unlocked, I ended up winning I got second place second year, and Tim, who was here, I was great. I just caught up with him. It's awesome seeing him again. He had gotten second place, and then first place the year after. And I remember that second place piece, looking back on it, you know, I just sometimes cringe because it's just, there's just so many things that are in there that I had to really pare down. And that's what Arboles was actually. That was my composition teacher who studied with Nadia Boulanger, and her whole challenge of making things, you know, not avoiding the obvious, but keeping it simple. And so that's how that piece came about, and how things, you know, there's, with the craft of just having 4 voice and the textures really makes a composer's craft shine. And so I think what Anne wanted me to say, as now being a writer on music more than anything, you know, writing program notes and essays, I wrote actually a bit last year for Good Friday about John Steiner's The Crucifixion, you know, his From the Passion of Christ and the movement, the timeless, you know, God so loved the world. What makes that piece so powerful are the notes that John Steiner did not choose. It's the notes, not just the notes he chose, the notes he did not choose. It's just as impressive a composer for the missing notes and the things they don't elect, just like a writer doesn't choose to put every big word in the English language in their novel, in their totem work. Same thing with composing. Just because a choir of sopranos can go to a high A doesn't mean you have to start there. Let's say, you know, for a small version of that. And there's
or a D, as it were.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah. You know, and I think that is a loop we get stuck in, you know, because of that crippling that is my music. And what Stefan was saying, is it any good? Or is it, how do I, you know, I've got to constantly be on the edge here and make it all. But there's super wittiness and cleverness and true craft and brilliance in short pieces. So that's what that's taught me from that point till now. And I'm ready to go back at it. So thank you all so much. Thanks for inviting me. Yeah,
sure. Thank you, Michael. Thank you so much. So this is good. We're going to move on to Tim. Tim Laciano was also a multi-year winner, I believe, and sort of worked your way through the contest. And Tim has spent a few years in the past, before pandemic, traveling the country, conducting and playing keyboard for national tours of Hello, Dolly and the King and I. And He's been interim director of Princeton University Trigo Singers and Princeton's theater program, and holds a Bachelor of Arts from Yale and graduate studies at the University of Michigan. So I actually wanted to play a piece that you wrote, not one of your contest pieces, but one that you wrote at Yale that we did. Yeah, Tim wrote a really cool piece called Musica Donum Optimi that is meant to go with the orchestration of Chichester Psalms. So when we did Chichester Psalms a few years ago, we did this piece as well. So Tim, catch us up with you and tell us a little bit about the contest in your perspective.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see everybody as well. As you heard Anne say, I've had a kind of varying trajectory in music since high school. And a lot of that I've just been thinking throughout tonight has to do with my experience with Harmonium in the contest. I was lucky enough 3 of the 4 years to have, I think three of my 4 entries were performed by Harmonium. So like everybody else said, it's just the greatest gift to hear your work live and have it taken seriously, as Dale said, that's the perfect way to put it. That really kind of set me off, not just having more confidence as as a composer, but also realizing how powerful choral singing and choral music is just as a genre and as concept. Dr. Matlack also had, an influence on where I went to college, and my relationship with Harmonium and their support and my experience hearing my own music sung by them led me to also participate in choir in college, which ended up being my most influential experience in college as a whole. I ended up going to grad school for choral conducting. Again, definitely I can trace that back to my experiences with the contest and Harmonium. Ended up leaving grad school to go do a job on a national tour where I was hired by someone that Anne introduced me to. Especially to all the entrants here for this year's contest, I would just say and recommend take advantage of this process, this experience. No matter if you got an award this year or not, Harmonium is not just a great family of people and musicians, but also a great resource. No one programs like Anne, so just keep listening and looking at everything they're performing for inspiration, because no one does it better. And yeah, keep going. I mean, I kept entering every year, kept getting better and better. Still looking back on the pieces now, obviously, you might say, oh gosh, what was I doing? But as I could also see, how I was growing each and every year. So I just can't express how grateful I am to this whole contest and the experience. It's stayed with me. So yeah.
Thank you. I'm so glad you could be here. 2012, we're getting there. Jasmine Gelber. Jasmine I've been in touch with, studied music at Columbia University Juilliard and Yale School of Music. So bula bula, we're still going there. She's currently involved in peer counseling and is based in New York City. Okay. So I'll just tell you a little about Fraser, another person who won 2 years in a row. Fraser graduated from Harvard in 2018 with a joint degree in music and computer science and is currently living in New York City, working as a software engineer, but still doing a lot of music and writing original songs. So again, music is certainly great as an avocation. In 2015 and 2016, another double winner, right? Hey, nice to see you. Zach, I'm gonna go ahead and play The Cold Wind, which was your 2016 winning piece, I think. And that is, the poem is actually November by Walter de la Mare that this is based on. So let's hear the 2015 winner. What a dramatic piece. Zach, I don't want to put you on the spot because I know you didn't necessarily want to talk, but I'm noticing that you are a composer and lyricist at NYU's Graduate Music Theater Writing Program, right? And that, what a dramatic piece that was, actually. So, yeah.
To kind of double what other people have said is that this contest really gave me the opportunity to learn how to write for voices and show that I could be a composer. And ever since then, I've taken that love for writing for the voice to writing for theater.
Great. And you're not alone in this group, I see, in doing that. So thank you for being here. Yeah, a great piece. We're up to 2017, and I believe that Theo Trevisan is here. Yay.
Oh.
And I think I was going to play Lay Waste. It's not too long a piece, and it's a pretty cool. It's a text by Kabir, actually, in a poetic rendition by my husband Jabez. So this is Lay Waste from 2017. Contrapuntal pieces I remember performing recently. Theo graduated from the American Boy Choir School, Princeton High School, and Princeton University. And I think he's currently, is that right?
Oh, I'm not. I'm currently on a gap year between my junior and senior year at Princeton. A lot of plans got thrown off due to COVID.
Yeah, go ahead and fill us in on anything you'd like to add.
Yeah, so I mean, I've just been composing, practicing voice. I've been doing a lot of singing at Princeton ever since I've been, stuck at home for COVID. I've been getting into more solo voice stuff a lot. Still composing, writing a lot for voice.
Great. Well, I can't wait to see what more you do, and so please keep me in the loop.
Thank you.
As you write more choral pieces, please send them to me.
Yeah, the contest was again, I guess, just echoing what other people said. It was a really great experience just to kind of. This is the first time I'd sort of sent something kind of into the blind, beyond like, friends or summer camps or the choir you're singing or whatever. And it was really great to just hear back from y'all in 2016 and then get to winning it in 2017 was like hey, kind of, it felt nice to follow up on 2016.
Yeah, great. Thank you. All right, we're getting there, people. We're getting there. Our 2018 winner was Rishma Koporapu, and she also worked her way through by being a runner-up the year before. She's currently a sophomore at USC, majoring in electrical and computer engineering, and she's not here because it's like finals tomorrow. But she's still doing music as well. She wanted to let me to let you know and to say hi. Our 2019, we had 2 grand prize winners. Wenwen van der Wende, I've been in touch with. They are currently a sophomore and a composition major at Hart School at the University of Hartford. And they were going to come, but currently they're having a piece premiere by the University of Hartford for, it's called their Uncertainty of Fate Festival. She's right now having a piece premiere. They're having a piece premiere duet for violin and viola called Liberosis, which is about the feelings that were worked through during the COVID pandemic. So that was Wenwen, sending greetings. And our other 2019 grand prize winner was Henry Marinovic, and Henry is here. And I'm going to play Henry's 2019 winning piece. It was on a Robert Louis Stevenson poem called Young Night Thought. Henry's currently a senior at Madison High School. You can read all about him. Sorry, that's my cat going in and out the door. And Henry's been fascinated with theory, composition, and improvisation for many years. But let's hear this piece. Just a quick background. We had a little glitch that year. So both Wenwen and Henry, we had to disqualify a piece, and then Wenwen and Henry ended up winning. And that means we had to record their piece over the summer. We had kind of a boot camp day where wonderful harmonium people came and worked really hard to put together this performance, and that's why we're kind of not dressed in concert clothes. Congratulations on that performance, Henry. I'm hoping more people will hear it now that we've put it out there. It was very jazz oriented. And I'm going to transition now into I'm going to skip 2020 for a minute. I'm going to, through Henry, transition into our 2021 celebration, because Henry, keep him up there for a minute, is an honorable mention winner this year again. So congratulations, Henry, on your honorable mention win. It was a setting of the Sarah Teasdale poem Alchemy, and Henry's sponsor is Sarah Jacob. Congratulate you, and tell us where you're going next year, Henry, would you?
Next year, I'm most certainly going to take a gap year, but then after that, I'm going to the University of Rochester. I'm looking forward to the excellent weather there.
You'll be able to both take advantage of Eastman as well as the science stuff that you'll be doing, I'm sure. So that's our honorable mention, and before I work my way through the rest of 2021, we're just going to take a quick break and talk about the poems. And I have some people, since we can't hear the performances, I would like you to know the poems that were set this year by the students. As I said, Henry's piece was based on Alchemy by Sarah Teasdale, as was the grand prize winner. And Sarah Kuhns is going to read us the poem Alchemy by Sarah Teasdale.
Alchemy. I lift my heart as spring lifts up a yellow daisy to the rain. My heart will be a lovely cup, although it holds but pain. For I shall learn from flower and leaf that color every drop they hold, to change the lifeless wine of grief to living gold.
Thank you. Robert Bowden is going to read Paul Laurence Dunbar's There Are No Beaten Paths.
The path. There are no beaten paths to glory's height. There are no rules to compass greatness known. Each for himself must cleave a path alone and press his own way forward in the fight. Smooth is the way to ease and calm delight, and soft the road sloth chooses for her own. But he who craves the flower of life full blown must struggle up in all his armor dight. What though the burden bear him sorely down and crush to dust the mountain of his pride? Oh, then, with strong heart, let him still abide. For rugged is the roadway to renown, nor may he hope to gain the envied crown till he hath thrust the looming rocks aside.
Thank you, Robert. And finally, the poem that was chosen by the most students, which I remember this poem being a favorite of mine when I was a teenager. It is Invictus by the Gothic Victorian poet William Ernest Henley. And I've asked our old friend Ethan to read it. Ethan is a successful actor and voiceover artist these days, and it's nice to see you. So here's Ethan giving us Invictus.
Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeonings of chance, my head is bloody, but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade, and yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishments the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul.
Thank you, Ethan. All right, we're going to work our way onward through this year's winners. So let's highlight our third place winner. As we said, all of these winners were very, very close, and all the pieces were really wonderful. Our third place goes to Barron Brothers, who set Invictus and entitled the work Unconquerable Soul. Barron's a junior at Hopewell Valley High School. He's a member of both his school's concert and jazz bands and the Princeton Boy Choir. Barron started composing when he was 10 and taught himself basic music theory. And his sponsor is Fred Meads. And we just should all like to, yay, congratulations, Barron! And I look forward to hearing your piece maybe next March. Yay!
Thank you, thank you.
I hope to hear from you again since you're junior. Is that what I said? Yes. Good. It's always good to know. As you see, many people do it a couple of times, and really, really lovely piece. Thank you. Now, congratulations. Now we're happy to announce a tie for first runner-up. I'll start with Lux Onigman. Runner-up Lux Onigman also set Invictus. Lux is a junior at Morristown High School. Hey, there we go. There I see you guys. Hi, Onigman family. As I was about to say, not only does Lux sing in New Jersey Youth Chorus, Hazimir International Jewish Teen Choir, but also Harmonium itself. They participated in a virtual Young Women Composers Camp over the summer, and the solo voice piece they wrote for that program was purchased by National Youth Rights Association to display on their website. And their sponsor is Dave Schlossberg, who I think I also saw here. So thank you for sponsoring Lux. And again, I look forward to getting to sing your piece. And even though many of you said Invictus, they were all very different settings. So fascinating. Congratulations. Tied with you, yay. Tied with you is another first-time entrant, Katie Nieto. Hi, Katie. Katie is a junior at Kinnelon High School. She's a performer and composer who specializes in theater. She's been playing piano since she was 6 years old and singing for as long as you can remember. Katie has participated in county, region, and statewide ensembles since she was in 6th grade and has ranked in the top 5 as soprano 1 on multiple occasions. She's also performed in various productions in off-Broadway theaters in New York City, as well as Paper Mill Playhouse's New Voices Conservatory since 2019. As a music director and arranger, Katie's worked with the Breaking Barriers Theater Company on their production of Spring Awakening and various cabarets. And as a composer, she just finished writing the book, lyrics, and score for her first original musical. Katie, you're a busy person. Katie was sponsored by Lisa Wickman, who I think is here as well. And Katie's the one who set the poem by Paul Laurence Dunbar. So there's Lisa too. Yay. Congratulations, Katie. I can't wait to hopefully perform many of these pieces. All right, finally, our grand prize winner for 2021 was last year's runner-up. I love it when that happens. From Cranford High School, congratulations to Asher Schechtman. Asher's a junior, a self-taught pianist, bassist, guitarist, drummer, arranger, and composer. He plays percussion in his school's concert and marching band, as well as participates in the concert choir, madrigal choir, jazz band, musicals, and a cappella group. Asher also set the Sarah Teasdale poem Alchemy, really beautiful setting, and his sponsor was Anthony Raffaniello.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations, congratulations. We'll definitely be doing your piece, and you haven't graduated yet. Right, did I say that? You're a junior, is that right? Good, so hopefully in March, we'll see you there when we do our resilience program, all things working out as we hope they will. So I skipped 2020 because this is kind of the climax of tonight, is that to conclude the program, I want to introduce last year's winner, J. Luke Soumilas. Luke is a freshman student at NYU's majoring in math education, and in their free time they compose and record music. A 2020 graduate of Haddonfield Memorial High School, Luke was sponsored by friend and mentor Max Esmus, is that right? Esmus? Luke set the Emily Dickinson poem, Dimities of Blue. We are so happy that Luke was able to come to a chamber singers virtual rehearsal over Zoom and give insights to the singers. I know it's not the same as being there in the room. It's not the same for us either, but it was a really great visit, and I'm so glad that that worked out. And I look forward to singing this piece live as well when we get a chance. But meanwhile, the chamber singers made a virtual recording, which we'll play for you. But first I'm gonna let Luke, let's let Luke share some insights now so that we can conclude with the virtual premiere. So also at the end of everything, I will hang around and take questions from audience or students, or you just can just run away because it's been long, but fine. It's been a great night. And Luke, tell us a little bit about this process for you.
So I'll speak quickly. I'll say a little bit about the beginning of my composition process and the very end of it. So it was the end of January, very early nights, very cold nights, and I got sent from my friend and mentor, Max, a link to this composition contest. And he said, I know you like to write music, you should go enter. And I'm like, I will. I went and opened the document, and immediately I read the Emily Dickinson poem. That was one of the suggested texts, and I loved it. And I wrote it down on a piece of paper, and I kept it in my back pocket for several days. And I kept reading it and going, what does the music sound like? Or what should the music sound like? And I couldn't think of much until one night I was walking home on, very dark January night. And I stood in the middle of the road, which you should not do, and looked up at the moon, and I just started humming. And I started humming a little melody to myself. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I ran home before I could forget it. And I sat down and I tapped it out on the piano and I wrote it down, and that became the melody of my piece. It literally came to me from looking up at the moon. Flashing forward to the very end of the piece, it is the beginning of March. My composition is about half done and should be due in a week. And I'm like, there is no way I'm getting this done. And then all of a sudden, school is closed. And all of a sudden, everything is closed. And that was terrifying for all of us, but it meant that I suddenly had so much more free time, and genuinely, without that week of sudden free time, I would not have gotten this composition in. So that's a bright spot to come out of all of this. I want to finish by saying congratulations to everyone who participated this year and to our winners.
Thank you so much, Luke. That's just great. All right, so here I want to thank my chamber singers for the hard work of virtual choir. I think everybody on this Zoom now probably knows that virtual choir is when we're all alone in our room recording by ourselves and then putting it together. I want to thank the ropers, Paula and Eric, who put together the audio and the video for this. I want to thank all of you who came tonight, and don't forget, we're welcome to take donations to go towards this lots of prize money that we've decided to give out today. Yes, we're thrilled. Here comes the world premiere performance of Dimities of Blue.
Ooh.
Congratulations, Luke. Yay, everybody. Yes, as Emily put in the chat, please do check out our social media and make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then you can hear that untranslated through Zoom, probably with some better quality tomorrow. But what a gorgeous piece. Congratulations to everyone who was on tonight. And yeah, just kudos to all. Thank you so much for coming and celebrating each other. I know it was a little bit long, but I think really important to hear from everybody. And Murray, thanks for managing for me. And you can go on to gallery view and we can visit, or go off if you all need to leave. Thanks, everybody. Thank you so much.